news this week about a math teacher who marked down her student for not using a calculator on the test. The student arrived at all the correct answers, but she had instructed them that they needed to use a calculator when they got their answers. And even though the student got all the right answers, because he did not use a calculator, she marked him down from an A to an A-. And I understand that. He should have been marked down. If the teacher said, I want you to get these answers with a calculator, and he didn't do that, he should have been marked down for that. But it seems kind of silly, doesn't it? It seems kind of funny that here in a class designed to teach math, that they're marked down for not showing their work, but rather showing. You would think that these teachers are kind of given the task of giving the student understanding about math, much more than learning reliance on a machine. And that's basically, what these classes are doing. Is the student is learning how to rely on a machine to do the work, to solve the problem, instead of understanding how to solve it themselves. I bring up that story to say to you today that how have you arrived at your answers and to your solutions? All of you who claim Jesus Christ today have claimed him as the solution to your problem, your metaphysical problem, your problem of eternity. And you've arrived at Christ as the answer. We sang Jesus Saves today. Many of you believe it. That's your answer. That's your testimony. That's your faith. That's what you tell anybody, that you've arrived at Christ as the answer to your problem. Well, I'm thankful that you've arrived at that answer. I think that's the correct answer. In fact, I know it is. But when it comes to salvation, it's not enough to have the right answer. It's not enough to intellectually assent to that which is correct. You have to know why. Christ, God, demands that you be able to show your work. Okay? How is it that you know that Christ is the answer? For faith to be effective, it has to be educated. Okay? That's the point that I want to get across to you today. If you want to be a great dancer, which I never aspired to do, but if you want to be a great dancer, you might go to Juilliard in New York City, right? If you want to be a great artist, you could go to the Savannah College of Art and Design, right? Go to SCAD. If you want to be a great engineer, you could go to MIT or Georgia Tech. But suppose you want to be a person of great faith. So what university do you go and attend and apply to be given great faith? Where do you go to do that? That university is your closet. The closet is the place where we achieve and are given great faith. And when I say closet, I'm talking about that place where you go to be alone, that place that Christ himself prescribed to go and to pray before the Lord, to that place where it's there's no author of a devotional who's shepherding you to the Lord. There's no music that you're listening to which is shepherding your heart and your emotion to a right relationship with God. There's no pastor or congregation. All those things are important. I'm not disparaging books and music and pastors, of course. But I'm saying that great faith is acquired when you are alone with God. I've talked about this before. I think we all genuinely need to create a place in our home. I believe actually in a closet. It's hard for some of us. A place that's dark and quiet, where you can go and have that awkward place where you actually go before the Lord. Because great faith is not something that I can teach you. It's not something that a book can teach you. It's something that God gives. And so to acquire it, you have to go before the Lord. Being alone with God is the only way to be educated in the life of faith. The closet is a crucible. A crucible is that thing which you put raw ore in, and it burns away impurities. You take ore, like gold or whatever, you put it in that crucible, and that crucible is hot, and it burns away everything that is not pure, and it leaves only that which is. And that's really what the closet is. You go into that closet with all sorts of impurities in your heart and mind and thinking and devotion, and when you come before God, and you say, God, I'm here, I'm laying myself bare and naked before you, the light of the truth, the light of the Lord, the Spirit will come and show all those impurities. And if you give yourself over to Him, He will burn them away over time. What makes us wealthy in the things of God is poverty in the things of the world. If you want to be wealthy in the things of God, you have to become poor in the things of the world. You have to have things be taken away. Look at it like Christ. When Christ is talking about children, you remember he makes that statement that, remember the disciples want the children to be shooed away and be rid of their nuisance. And Christ remonstrates them and says, the kingdom of God is going to belong to one such as this. If you want to be an inheritor of the kingdom to come, you have to be like a little child. But what he's saying there is not that acquiring great faith is not acquiring things ourselves, but actually being rid of things. What makes a child ideal for the kingdom is not what the child has, but what the child does not have. Children are free of prejudices. They're free of vices and addictions. They're free of jaded philosophies and views of the world and others. They have an innocence. They're childlike in everything, and that's how we're to be. And so what I'm saying today is that great faith is accomplished by the absence of things, by the absence of the world. It's not something where you come today and you say, well, what do I have to acquire for myself to have great faith? I'm going to take the opposite route today by looking at this passage and show it's not what you have to acquire, but what you have to get rid of. Great faith is in the absence of certain things. And it's those certain things that I'm going to draw up today. This is not a complete list, of course, only a partial list, but we're going to look at this little exchange between God and this Canaanite woman. And I'll show you three things that I believe produce great faith if you lose them. The first thing I want to show in this passage is that this woman had the absence of a case. The absence of a case. Look at verses 21 to 24 again. It says here, and Jesus went away from there and withdrew into the district of Tyre and Sidon. If you read the companion account of this in the book of Mark, you'll learn that Christ was coming here to get away from people. Okay, have you ever wanted to do that? He's basically on vacation. He's coming incognito. He did not make a scene when he came to this town. He told his disciples to stay low. He really just wanted to come and rest. So he's trying to avoid people. But it's hard for him to do. At this point in his ministry, he's quite famous. It says, and behold, a Canaanite woman, or a Syrophoenician woman, came out from that region, came out and found him. And she began to cry out, saying, have mercy on me, O Lord, Son of David. My daughter is cruelly demon-possessed. So she has a daughter who has a demon who's possessing her, and likely, if it's anything like the other accounts we have, was probably dashing her onto rocks and causing her to put her hand in the fire and so on and so forth. She was becoming uncontrollable, and she was hurting herself. And so she said, have mercy on me, O Lord. And he ignored her, it says. He did not answer her a word. But his disciples came to him and kept asking him, saying, send her away, for she is shouting out after us. You have to settle this, Jesus. She's not letting it go. And he answered and said to her, well, I was only sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. I don't have anything to do with a Canaanite. Most lawyers offer free consultation